hell was that? That was weird. Well, that was bad. That healed. Yeah, all that shit about the keeping the elbows in is kind of bullshit. Well, I mean, once you really, I mean, most palms like this, they don't keep the elbows in. So what's you do that just as well. I don't know. Wing Chun is kind of bullshit. I like elements of it, but some of the traditional people are kind of jackasses. I listen to their arguments and what they say, and some of it's just kind of dumb. Some of the things they say. Overall, I like the art. It's a great way for personal development. It is. These dummies are great. They're fun. I've done Chinese Kempo, and the Chinese Kempo that I do has, you know, it's a mix of Wing Chun, Tai Chi, and, you know, just wushu, kickboxing. I do weapons, and used to do kickboxing when I was young. I never competed. You know, but other people in our school or our class did compete, and they did well. Even made some champions. I was never very athletic because I'm asthmatic and very injury prone, so I never competed very often. I just practiced and helped and held. I, you know, like a coach and assistant coach and stuff. I did stuff like that. So I knew you know, if I was really tried to be an athlete, I'd fucking die. But I still like the arts. Despite my lack of athleticism, you still enjoy them. The basics of any martial art, Wing Chun, Tai Chi, or whatever, doesn't really require a great deal of athleticism. The basic movements are pretty easy. Almost anyone can do them. You know, as long as you're have fairly normal health. And even if you don't, you know, I've seen guys with only one arm and hand and stuff, and they just adopt their stuff. You know, they do pretty good. I've seen some pretty amazing handicapped or people that were injured badly that, you know, really great martial artists. There's in our town I lived in, there was a karate guy that only had one arm, and man, that guy was good, man. He fucking knocked the shit out of you with that one arm. I wouldn't mess with him, you know. But I do Chinese martial arts. Been practicing for a while. I don't have the camera turned right, but I got my bag right here. Sometimes I'll practice on this, and you know, kicking, sweep his legs out. I should get a banana bag. It goes right down to the floor, because then I can practice all my takedowns and low kicks and stomps. Because I got this canvas bag. Sleeve cutting this. That's cool, I don't care. I like it when shit like that happens. Little accidents like that. That's a good thing to happen, because then you learn to unsnag from stuff. You know? Bang. That's why I wear different. Sometimes I like wearing this traditional stuff. I wear it when I meditate. I like traditional martial arts, so I think they're pretty cool. I like, you know what, I like traditional martial arts with kind of like a modern attitude towards them. It's that, you know, you pick them apart and stuff to learn, but not to, you know, not to be like critical, like, you know, to really, one's better than the other. What, it's more like critical and analysis that, oh, that's cool. Boy, I would like to have that technique in my Wing Chun. Or that Wing Chun technique would be really cool in my Tai Chi. Or Baji technique, or from wrestling, from Shuai Jiao. All that stuff is great. I practice all of it. I mean, because of my health and age, of course, I'm not out being flipped and beat up wrestling. I wish I could. I'm jealous of young people that can do it, because I like doing that stuff. But all that stuff, you should practice it all, I think. Should have some Shuai Jiao, some wrestling, learn some Tai Chi. Wing Chun's really great. Tai Chi Mantis is definitely cool. That's kind of that's more the Tai Chi that I know is Tai Chi Mantis. You know, whatever I learn off the internet too, because I'm always watching different people practice. I really like Chen style Tai Chi a lot. I think that I've seen some guys doing that, but I'm like, oh my god. Sing Yi, I like Sing Yi a lot too. The power that when they hit, man, it's like from that spear, training the spear, that thrusting power. They've really mastered that. But Tai Chi has the same thing in it, and you know what? So does Wing Chun. 'Cause Wing Chun practice was with that spear too, or with a dragon pole, which is nothing more than a long spear. I mean, maybe it was maybe they used it for pushing boats around because they were boat people. I think some of them were, but still, it doesn't matter if you're practicing with a long pole arm. That really very easily becomes a spear. And you work in the way you practice with them and stuff, the way it develops your body, you know, for that, you know, long, that thrusting action, long, powerful thrusting strikes, bang. And you know, being that that's what's kind of cool about practicing Chinese Kempo is you kind of practice all. I learned from all those traditional arts. I'm amazed by them. And Kempo, the Chinese martial arts for that was just very simple. There's just a few techniques. We just like spinning elbows. We pretty much do all the wrestling takedowns and throws, any kind of kick and punch that anyone out that Muay Thai or Taekwondo or anyone else does, that we do that. It was within our kicks, as well as all the traditional, you know, stomping kicks and stuff like that you see in Wing Chun, Tai Chi. Now, you know, I think we were just a modern Chinese Kempo form. I think there's a lot of styles that are out there like that. And then they try to adapt. And since, you know, kickboxing was so popular, still is. I mean, definitely have to have kickboxing skills to be good at MMA. So it's definitely a need out there for kickboxing coaches. Even though MMA is probably the most popular, it is the most popular combat sport. It's definitely my favorite, as well as Muay Thai and K1 too. Being honest, I like watching Muay Thai and K1 those more than I do MMA, and it's just probably just for nostalgia for kickboxing. So I grew up with kickboxing, boxing. Although I like MMA, and I'm a big fan of wrestling, Swai wrestling, you know, and Kempo system, that Chinese Kempo system I practice, you know, it has all the chin knot techniques, all the wrist locks, all arm bars. They work standing up, sitting down, laying down, on the ground. It doesn't matter. Same with chokes, sealing the breath. Their chin knot techniques, they all work, you know. Of course, you know, like so many others, you know, I studied a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the early 90s. I was interested in it. There was a Wing Chun teacher, which I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of his name at the moment. And I think it was Carlos Gracie teamed up. And yeah, that was my introduction to, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it's useful. Definitely. If you get someone knocks you down on the ground, you get knocked down on the ground, and you need a good defensive ground system, it's good to know it. You know, it's good to know, you know, put your knees up on your chest so someone can't get on top of you, so you can use your guards to control your hips, their hips, and you know, all that good stuff. I don't practice it that much, but I tell you what I do is I practice a lot of the mobility exercises and movements that I learned on the ground. I don't, you know, like I said, since I have heart issues and shit, I don't really spar that. much. I just try to exercise just to maintain enough so I don't die. And sparring is probably, I'd probably be stupid and hurt myself, so I don't do it. I don't know. I just try to practice and teach a little bit when here and there when I can. I like this having this dummy though. Well, that's why I added in this video. That's probably enough. Hell, I got 17 minutes. I'm gonna try to keep them short. Most of the time, I just exercise and don't talk. But today, I felt like talking, so fuck it. Talk if you feel like talking. I got my 10 minutes of kung fu exercise. All right. See ya.